Welcome back to Liz and Sandro's Marketing Podcast. We are the podcast that helps your small business grow through all things digital marketing, including social media, SEO, reputation management, and so much more. Today, Liz is sharing with us the pros and cons of launching with a single page website.
That's right. In the next week or so, I will actually be launching 3 basic single website sites. These projects are a mix of existing and new business entities, and they all have very different goals with the web pages. But today I thought it would be good to talk about some of the pros and cons of launching with a single page, and also probably touch on some of the pros and cons of simply just using a single page site as your website. So let's start off with the pros. The biggest reason why I am a fan of a single page site is because it's quick. It's ideal when you need to get basic information out to the world. You got to get it out there quickly. You got to verify your legitimacy. Single page websites work great for this. One of the companies I'm working with now has been, honestly, they've been in business for years, and I think it's probably been 6, maybe 7 years since they've had a website. I mean, there's a whole story behind that. But yeah, they approached us saying they needed to get something up very quickly. My understanding was that they had landed a new client and they wanted to, again, have something out there to verify that they were a legit company. The 2 other projects that I'm working on, they're new ventures. This is the first time they're putting anything out on the web, and they just need something out quickly. They certainly have plans to expand the site, but for now they want to get the info out there quickly. Another pro is that people have very short attention spans. And this lends into like long-term, maybe why just having a single page site is ideal is, people aren't really, they're on their mobile phone. They're not really clicking around so much. They just want the info that they're looking for, and they want to move on with their day. This also ties into the fact that we're seeing fewer and fewer clicks from Google. I know Sandra is going to talk about that in another episode. But yeah, I mean, why spend all the time and effort to build out a crazy extensive site when sometimes just the basic info is all that you need? And finally, another pro, for those who are budget conscious, you can save a little bit of money and a little bit of time. Now, I do want to stress, I don't think we're talking, massive amounts of time and money here, because even with a single page site, there still is a lot of the basic setup that needs to happen. So think of things like even as basic as purchasing the domain name, setting up the dev site, selecting fonts, colors, stock images. All of that takes time. Obviously, you're going to save time by not having to maybe design 3 other page templates and write content and build out all of those pages. So in that regard, you're going to save time. But there is still some basic setup that needs to happen, even with a single page website. So just keep that in mind. In terms of the cons of a single page site, there is certainly less of an opportunity to position yourself as an expert. With just one page, you're not going to have a blog. You're not going to just have the additional pages and spots to really showcase your work, your services, whatever that might be. You're limited, and that ties into my second con is that you can end up with a lot of scrolling. One of the sites that we are about to launch, I'm giving it a final review. I'm looking at it on mobile and I'm like, oh my gosh, this just keeps scrolling and scrolling. They wanted to include so much information on this one page to get going that it just seems like we're scrolling forever and ever. So again, that's one of the cons. And my final con, this may be a little more of a rant than a con, to be honest. But for those businesses who are existing businesses, and for whatever reason you've been operating without a site for however many years, what's 2 more months to build out a 5-page site? You need something up quick. Maybe you need something up in 2 weeks. But again, what's waiting 2 more months if you've gone 5-6 years without a site? So, you got to kind of think through that and maybe think what's realistic. But those are my pros and cons. There's certainly something to be said for launching just a single page site. And there's some downsides too.
Yeah, and keep in mind some of the things that may affect you with a single page. Of course, you can have links at the top. I know a lot of restaurant sites have single page sites, and all they have at the top is lunch, dinner, and reservations or something. And that's all well and good, but sometimes I see them freaking out. They look at their Google Analytics and they say, hey, my bounce rate, which bounce rate is people that just go to your page and leave, go back to a different site. My bounce rate's really high. Well, yeah, because you only have one single page. There's no need for them.
Nowhere else to go.
Nowhere else to go, right?
Yeah.
So, keep that in mind. There's different things. High bounce rate is generally considered bad, but if you've got a single page, then just ignore that bounce rate.
Yes. And I will add, for the 3 projects that I am mentioning here, there are plans to build out full websites. When the time is right. In the case of the existing business, like I said, he just needed something up to verify his legitimacy, and we are hopefully going to sit down very soon, build out the remaining 5 to 10 pages. The other 2 entities, they're actually collaborations. There's many organizations involved. So I know they need to have some committee meetings, and within the next year, those pages will be built out to full sites as well. So
fantastic, because one other con of a single page site is that you don't get the internal linking. So Google doesn't know which page is more important or the most important pages on your site without some internal linking going on. So all things to consider. There are pros and cons, and sometimes you just need that quick website.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, if you need to launch something quickly, single page is the way to go. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Liz. I love this. I know some business owners do wonder, do I just get something up, or should I just ignore it until I'm ready to put in all 5, 6, 7 pages of my website? Better to go with something now, even if it's single page. Thanks for that information. And thank you for joining us. You'll find us wherever you find your favorite podcasts. If you like what you hear, we'd love a review. We're also now on Spotify. So if you happen to enjoy Spotify at work, you can listen to us there. We're also on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. And if you have a question, we'd love to hear it. We'll leave our email address in the show notes. We'll give you a shout out and a link back to your website. Thanks again for joining us. We'll see you next time.